Hello and welcome. This is our kind of introductory overview of a new initiative we're going to be starting most likely in the beginning of the summer. But today we wanted to discuss some of the details of it and also cover the topic as the heading here says, manufacturing time. And I'm here with Barbara. I want to try to pronounce Barbara's last name because it's even longer than mine. Who is a friend from my son's school and somebody I've known for, we've known each other for a little over a year now, kind of passing each other in school and talking and things like that. So Barbara, welcome.
Thank you, Oleg. I'm delighted to be doing this because you and I get this feeling that people are not taking advantage of what they really need to bring some of that time back into their life for all the important things they need to get done. So this is fantastic.
Great, thank you. But before we get going though, let's introduce you to people who might not know you.
Yeah, sure.
What kind of business you're in and what it is that you do, and then we'll go into my spiel.
Okay, sounds fantastic. So I'm Barbara Christensen, and I'm the owner of Bija Coaching. I've owned this company for a little over a decade. I'm a life and business coach. And so I try to help people who are launching a business or trying to redefine their business, how to bring that sort of wellness idea of incorporating all of the functions of mind, body, spirit together into their business. And part of that really is making sure you're using the right tools and taking advantage of anything to enhance the time that you're spending in your business.
Great. Okay, just for the record, I can't say the word Christensen. It's just the second part that they couldn't say. So what's the full name?
Bija Coaching?
No, full name.
Or what?
Barbara Christensen.
Oh, it's Barbara Lindahl-Christensen.
There we go. That's the part.
Yeah.
Okay, just so people don't think I'm really bad because I can't pronounce Christensen. Okay, so today, so again, like I said, welcome Barbara, and thank you for being here. I'm, in terms of my background, I've been in information technology for 3+ decades. We won't go into details there. And I've done just about anything you can imagine IT related, but I've always used technology and always was fascinated by it, especially coming from the horrible old USSR originally, and they never had anything. So when I got to the States and started learning about technology and learning English and everything else, I got fascinated by the fact that you can get, as I usually say, a piece of plastic and metal that's completely and totally dumb to actually perform something that's useful and productive. And I was always fascinated by the fact that you can program computers to do something useful. And so I got into the field and started working as a programmer, then I was a project manager and just kind of kept moving up the ladder. But I've done all kinds of stuff, literally just about anything you can imagine IT related I've done at some point in time. I spent 17 years working in the corporate environment, and then the last, I guess 17 now years also, working on my own for various clients, basically freelancing. And mostly it has to do with designing, consulting for people, number one. Number two, designing and developing custom business systems for them to use in their businesses, and then also supporting those systems as well. And so I've worked for resort companies. I've done a number of projects for Starbucks here in Seattle. I've done basically a variety of different things. I won't go into details, but very heavily into information technology. But this fascination with technology and trying to get into it and learn it over the years taught me a couple of things. Number one is it's a never-ending story. No matter how many people tell me that I know everything, for the record here, I'm saying I don't know everything. There's a lot of stuff to learn all the time, and I'm constantly learning. But at the same time, I can see that technology is such a useful and beneficial tool for business, especially, also for individuals, but especially so for business. And yet, because there is so much of it, it's so overwhelming in terms of how much there is, and it's almost like a moving bullet train. And you catch on to it, and you hold on to your dear life, trying to keep up with it, but the train just keeps going from station to station, and every station brings new people, and in this particular case brings new capabilities, upgrades, new technologies, new uses, and it's just a never-ending story. And so for a lot of people in business, I noticed that what happens is they get completely overwhelmed, number one. They understand the fact that technology should be used, and they need to use it because they won't be able to compete. I mean, it's as simple as that. You cannot just go and say, I've always used a paper-based calendar in my pocket, and I'll continue to use it because I've used it for the last 20 years. You can continue to use it, but if you're a serious business, I can guarantee you, people, your competitors will definitely outdo you because they use technology. It just, there's no two ways about it. And so, we have things like internet, we have things like all kinds of different computers. So now we have tablets and we have smartphones, and it's a never-ending story, like I said. But for some, since I'm in the field myself, I'm constantly educating myself and learning and trying to put together one of my traits of personality, which is a user personality, looking to see how to get things done better and faster and easier using technology, combined with the IT pro, basically, if you will, that is able to help other people and be able to use that synergy between business intelligence and computer knowledge to figure out exactly what, and of course learning from individual clients specifically what their needs are and what their desires are, and then based on that figure out a strategy that would work best for them in this particular moment in time, even though this moment in time is something that's here today, gone tomorrow, just like our smartphones. You may be getting the best smartphone on the market today, most likely a month from now, if even that long, it's not going to be the best on the market anymore. And it's just, that's the way technology has always worked. That's the way it's always going to be. So for you as a business owner, the question becomes, okay, I agree with you. I need to use technology. All of that stuff, that's all wonderful. Tell me some specifics. Tell me exactly what it is that you recommend that I do. What kind of phone should I get, since I know I need to get a phone? Do I need to get a tablet, or do I need to get a laptop? What was that? You said to use Chromebook? What is a Chromebook? And so you get into all kinds of different things because, different strokes for different folks type deal. And so today what I want to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, we're talking about time. And what's happening with time is something that time is I think Jobs said that one time, that time is the most precious commodity, because we all need to use time, so that's a given, but at the same time there is very limited amount of it. And starting with statements like life is short and going to all the other time related statements, that's the hard reality, is that we definitely need more time. Unfortunately, as we all know, there is no such thing as more time, because we only have 24 hours in a day, and that's the limitation that we cannot jump over. So how do you make time, or how do you make more time, or as I call it, manufacture time? And that's something that I think is doable, and I've certainly done enough of them myself, and taught many of my clients to do the same thing. And that is by using the right tools and the right technologies. That's how you can shrink the amount of time the tasks that you must perform take. So you don't actually expand the day, but what you do is whatever you do during that day, you can shrink that amount of time down by utilizing time more effectively, being more efficient. But at the same time, that efficiency cannot just come from you thinking faster or walking faster or anything like that. It usually comes in the form of some sort of technology or technologies, and you're using those correctly. And what I mean by using that correctly is that for a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, some people, it was kind of a joke at one point. Somebody asked the question, can you create a word processing type document in a spreadsheet? And the answer, of course, is you can, but the question would be, why would you ever want to? And so this is a situation, it's a perfect example, as absurd as it sounds, it's a perfect example of how, for a lot of people, they learn to use a certain tool, and then they wind up using it for everything because they don't know anything else, and just because they can use it, they assume that they should be using it because they don't know what's out there, what's better, or how to use something that's better, and they don't have the time or don't want to take the time to learn what that something might be.
Exactly.
Okay?
And so that ends up making more work for you. And so what you really need to do, like you're saying, is it's a simplification of your day, honestly.
Correct, exactly. And so if you can use some technology and say erase an hour of work per day, I mean save an hour by doing something a little more effectively or more efficiently, imagine how much more time over the course of period of time, how much time you could save that way or make, so, depending how you want to word it, and how much more you could potentially get done. And of course, when you make that extra time, let's say, I'll give you a simple example. Let's just actually talk examples, not generalities. Speaking of those Chromebooks that Google manufactures, which is I'm a big fan of, and Barbara just got a shiny new one herself, a 15-inch Acer Chromebook.
It's a beauty.
There you go. So, Barbara, by the way, are you doing this Hangout on this Chromebook?
I am.
Absolutely.
And the last Hangout I did was on my laptop, and it took me forever. I had to shut it down and restart it to make sure there wasn't anything running in the background because it was lagging when I first got on. No problems with this.
Right. For all of our Microsoft friends, you have our condolences, but the reality is what it is. So basically, let's look at specific example. My PC, and I have a lot of programs loaded. I'm not your average user. I would grant that. But at the same time, I'm just a user. Maybe I'm not an average user, but it's still just a user. And so it takes my computer good 20 to 30 minutes to boot up from beginning to when the hard drive light completely goes off. I mean, it's ridiculous how long it takes. And definitely, I can't really do almost anything in the first 15 minutes at all because the CPU and memory is completely used up by loading everything I wanted to load. So let's use a more conservative example. Let's say that your PC takes 10 minutes to boot up, as an example. Okay? Let's say you're using one of the older PCs, you don't have the flashy whiz-bang new one you just bought, but for a lot of people that's the reality. They bought a PC 2-3 years ago, or maybe more, and they're using it. It's still, it's a clunker, but it's still usable, useful. It's not dead, so you use it. But it does take, let's say, to be on the conservative side, 10 minutes to boot up. Okay? Now, Barbara's computer right now, her Chromebook, boots up in 10 seconds. Okay?
Exactly.
You can time any pretty much Chromebook can boot up in 10 seconds. In fact, Barbara's probably boots up even a little bit faster. Probably more like 7 or 8 seconds, because she's got a faster CPU than other Chromebooks. So let's say it takes 10 seconds. Okay? Let's say you save 10 minutes of time in boot up between what it takes for Barbara's computer, what it takes for your PC or my PC. That means for each person, if you have, let's make examples simple. Let's say you have a small business with 6 employees, and each one has their own laptop running Windows right now. Okay? That means that it would take them, if you save 10 minutes per PC, that means you're talking about combined hour for these 6 people every single day. When they turn it on, instead of 10 seconds, it boots up in 10 minutes. That means that there is an hour of time company-wide that's being wasted. For lack of a better word, time is being wasted. Nobody can do anything productive at that time. You are paying money, of course, for these people at that particular moment. You're definitely paying money, and their salaries and everything else because they're at work, but they can't really do anything yet until it boots up. So an hour per day, and if you're talking about regular 5-day work week, means that you're wasting around 5 hours per week, or about 20 hours a month. Okay, so 20 hours a month, just to be close, we're talking about almost 3 days of productivity per month being completely wasted and lost on booting up the stupid PC. Okay.
And even if you think about just a small business with one owner at their own home, where they're wasting 5-6 hours over the month for every time they're rebooting their laptop. Correct. And trying to get their work done, where they could be using it, especially, a lot of these moms that have their own businesses at home and they're running it off their laptop, they could be doing the laundry, prepping food, making an extra couple of phone calls.
Or just taking a little rest.
Yes,
something
exactly.
that they so much deserve with dealing with kids and dealing with school and dealing with husbands or wives. For some of us, it's wives, and everything else, and just dealing with home stuff. Sometimes you just want to chill out for a few minutes. And so there is an example right there how you can get that time. You can get, by investing in something like a Chromebook, which is something that you can buy, the top of the lines are going to be a little bit more, but you can easily get a really good Chromebook for around $300. It's not that much of an investment, actually. And so if you think about it in terms of money, as everybody always knows that time is money, if you're saving 5 hours a week even, we're not talking about the 20 hours, we're talking about just 5 hours a month, I'm sorry. That means that over time, if you multiply it by whatever you normally generate per hour, you can see how much money it adds up, and this $300 will pay for itself in no time at all. Not to mention the fact that you can take your old PC clunker and either write it off as taxes or donate it to somebody or sell it to somebody. I mean, you can certainly sell it, get part of the $300 back by selling it for $100 or $200, whatever. Maybe selling it for the same $300 if it's decent enough PC, and then getting something like a Chromebook. And so this way you wind up immediately taking action that doesn't take much time at all to exercise and to do, and you're saving all this time going forward. I mean, it's not just a savings one time, but it's a savings, going forward into the future. Mm-hmm. And that's just a single example of some of the things that we're talking about here. Another example would be, let's see, what would be another good example. Another example would be saving time using certain. Let's talk about it. I just talked to Barbara before we started about phone calling. All of us in business need to make phone calls. So how do you make phone calls? Well, you pick up the phone, you dial 10 digits, and you talk to people. One way to do it. Another way to do it is to go to Gmail, and they have a functionality built in to actually make phone calls right from Gmail, and you select the contact from your contacts that's right there, and you simply click on the little phone icon and it dials the phone. You don't dial any digits at all. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And so then the question becomes, wait a minute, so how much time does that save? Well, you can figure out how long it takes you to punch in 10 digits, and you can also built into that time, for example, the fact that, for whatever reason, on the 7th or 8th digit, you punched in the wrong number, so you had to redial it again. And so all these things go away. I just pull up the contact, I click on the phone icon, it dials them, my hands, right here, both hands, I'm talking on the phone, but my hands are open. I can go ahead and type and do whatever I need to do on the computer, which is the most effective way to actually make phone calls, because you need to take notes a lot of times, record some information, get some information from the potential customer or current customer, whoever you're calling. So you need to have ability to have access to the computer, you need to have your hands available for typing or for using the mouse, totally just like I'm talking right now, except I'm also looking at you, and I can see you, I can see Barbara. This way, it'd be just talking, but it's the same exact environment, okay? And so... And
let me add that what I like about that, Oleg, is the fact that, oftentimes you didn't get someone's phone number, but you did get their email, and you've emailed each other before. And so that's such a better simplified way to contact someone, is to just know I have your Gmail, I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to go ahead and call you right through there. No searching for phone numbers, no trying to remember what was, it's just simple. I just love that.
And a lot of people don't know a lot of things you can do with Gmail. They just think it's nothing but email. But also it has the ability to deal with tasks. And these tasks can be on their own, or they can also be integrated with the calendar. So you also have ability to jump right to the calendar. You can set up appointments into the calendar, go right into the calendar right from Gmail itself. You can contact people doing chats using Hangout application directly from Gmail. You can also do these video calls like we're doing right now, even though this one's being recorded. You can do one without it being recorded on YouTube directly from Gmail as well. So Gmail can become a hub, which is far more than just email. I mean, there's a lot of other things you can do through Gmail, but these are just a few things I mentioned that a lot of people don't even know that these things exist, and especially exist as part of Gmail itself. But the savings of time by utilizing some of these tools is tremendous. Another example would be savings of time, for example, when you know to use the right applications, meetings. Barbara and I both were members of the parents committee in my son's school and her daughter's school. And one time we had to have the committee, which is, I think, 9-10 people, put together a meeting. So President fired off an email to everybody saying, when would you guys like to get together? And everybody started emailing back saying, I can do it on Thursday, I can do it on Friday. I had 9 emails going back and forth between me and a bunch of other people before finally we had a date. And again, even that date was not finalized just yet because few people still did not respond yet. 9 emails going back and forth to set up a silly meeting. Okay, where instead what we could have done, if it was done properly, is just like right now when if I pull up my Gmail, I got a list of my contacts there. Barbara is right there with a little green dot indicating that she's online. All I have to do is simply click on her name or her picture, and a little window pops up, and I can start typing messages and talking to her. If I need to talk to more people than just Barbara, I could actually add all those people instantly right there by just clicking on them into the same conversation. Then I can click on a little camera at the top of the window, and we all go into Hangout just like you're seeing right now, where you can have up to 10 people. Now, you tell me, is it more time effective and time efficient to send 9 emails at different hours over the course of like a week trying to put together a meeting, or do you click on a couple of names, click on the little camera, conduct your meeting right then and there because you can see all these people are there, or you can certainly ask them if now would be a good time, or ask them when would be a good time, but get it settled right then and there, and potentially even have a meeting right there and there, and be done. Okay, how much time does that save all the time? Okay, another example, for example, people collaborating on things. Okay, how do you collaborate on stuff? Well, you create your Excel spreadsheet and then you send it as an attachment. We've done it for years. I mean, that's not that difficult. What happens if you need to work with multiple people on the same spreadsheet? Well, you just, you email a copy to everybody and they work on it and they send it. Okay, so they send it back. You wind up with, if you send it to 5 people, you wind up with 5 different versions of the same spreadsheet potentially. How does the collaboration work? I mean, how do you not overwrite or anything like that, or put the information together so it's all in one document? Well, you have to have a Exchange server so you can host Office and all of that. No small business can afford to do anything with it. Even if you have a number of employees, that's way too expensive to buy. Again, sorry, Microsoft, reality of life. To buy, server software, to buy hardware, have it somewhere. I mean, it's just way too much maintenance and hassle. So how do you do it? Well, if you use something like Google Apps, for example, then you can just simply create a spreadsheet using Google Sheets, and you simply share it with people you want to collaborate with, giving them edit capabilities so they can make changes. They can work at it at the same time with you, different time, doesn't matter. Everybody's working on a single document. It's located in the cloud, and you're working on everything using what they call secure sockets layer, which is SSL encryption. In other words, everything is done using encrypted communication, so it's secure. And when you get done, you're done. That's it. I mean, you don't have to wait for anybody to send you attachments or anything. Again, if you look at the difference between collaborating in this fashion and then collaborating sending a million attachments back and forth, how much time are you saving? And the answer is, if you do a lot of this, you're saving a tremendous amount of time. And so working like this smarter, I mean, I'm just giving you a couple of examples, but there's tons and tons of different tools and capabilities. One of the gentlemen that is a client of mine, it's a real estate company. And he says, I just need to have this punch list. He keeps referring to this punch list. And I just need to be able to have multiple people to be able to keep track of a bunch of different tasks, see where they're at, see what they're done, what they haven't done. And I just need some way, because we keep losing constantly, in terms of some sort of project management, something. And there is an application that allows to do exactly that, to be set up in minutes. He's talked to me about this now he mentioned it about 2 months ago, and I showed him exactly what they need to do. He told me to work with his secretary. The secretary was busy doing something else. Bottom line is they still haven't implemented it, when it's something that could be implemented literally within 5 minutes. In the meantime, they're still doing these projects. Some things still fall through the cracks, and they miss stuff. People get mad, money gets wasted, on and on and on, because they did not implement a very simple solution that's out there that they could start using immediately. It doesn't require, the solution is free. Training on it would be extremely quick. It's very easy to use, but you need to have the right attitude. That's one of the main things that is missing, seems to me like, is the attitude for using the right tools needs to be in place. You don't need to know what to do and how to do it, okay? Because that's something, again, like I said, there's a lot of stuff out there, and you don't have the time, literally, to be able to get into it and keep up with everything like people who are in the business do it, because you need to run your business. You're not an IT person, you're a plumber, or you're a wellness expert, or you're I don't know, yoga instructor, whatever you might be. You're definitely involved in your business, not in the IT aspect of things. Yet you need to do this to be able to save time and thus save money, so you can run a productive and thriving business, competitive business, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is where the attitude comes in, that if you have the open mind to never utter a statement such as "we've always done it this way," the statement I hate the most when I hear it from people, then and you're willing to listen and learn about things that can make your life easier and better, then that's all you really need, because all of this stuff is learnable. Obviously, I wasn't born knowing anything that I know. I mean, all of that had to be learned, and it's a learning experience, till the day I die, basically, is going to be one of those situations. But at the same time, I think having the attitude with an open mind to be open to adjusting some things you're doing to make things better. And yes, in some cases, it takes a little bit of a learning curve, not much. Most of the things I usually recommend, I try to keep it as simple as possible and as approachable as possible, so you don't spend 3 years of your life learning a tool, and then in 2 years after that, before it even gets to that point, you end up being forced to use some other tool because something better came. So we don't get into those kind of environments. We're only talking about something that's now, something that's useful and usable, easy to learn, relatively speaking, because obviously for different people it's different, but most of these things are not that difficult to learn. I always look at it, if I could learn it, you can learn it. That's my approach. Barbara certainly is an example of a user. She's no IT expert from the standpoint of being in the business and doing IT, but she uses technology to help her with her business. I see her on her computer all the time at school, working on different business aspects. I don't know exactly what she's doing. One time I tried to look over her shoulder, I saw a gun pointing in my face, so I left. But seriously speaking, she's always on her computer, and I know she's definitely not sitting there surfing the web. So it's an example of a person who is both astute when it comes to technology, is not afraid to use technology, and certainly tries to use as much of it as possible to benefit her business and her family. Because I just finished before I let you say something, Barbara. I was just going to say that in the end, this is all it's about. It's not about using computers for the sake of using computers. It's about using these tools to make your life, your business life, and your personal life better, easier, and more efficient in terms of time, so you can have time to do this something else. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yeah, well, I was going to use an example of, Oleg, you had showed me a few weeks ago some cool things that I could do with Google Keep. And so now I'm using that for my shared grocery list with my husband. I'm using that for punch lists with clients, as well as using that to kind of track. I have one list that I put together to track my daily nutrition, as well as, another one of my to-dos and my goals. And so taking something that's so simple to be able to use it for so many different areas of my own personal life and my business is fantastic. But I was open to seeing, show me, what can this do? And it has simplified a lot of things in my life.
Right, and that's what it's about. It's about, being a little bit proactive in terms of looking at what's out there, and then, yes, determining whether it's for you or not. I mean, things that I showed Barbara were not meant to, tell her basically use this or else. Obviously, the end decision whether to use this tool or not to use this tool is up to her. But she obviously looked at it, saw the benefits, saw how she could use it for her needs, and she started using it. And so she adjusted a little bit. It's a little bit of a step out from your comfort zone, because she hasn't used this tool before, and now all of a sudden she's using it. So obviously it's not the same thing as before, but she's completely open-minded to it because she can see the benefits. And the benefits, show up pretty quickly. So of course, why not? Just because she hasn't used it before doesn't mean anything. It didn't take her long to learn, as you can see. and the benefits are ongoing. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about being able to have somebody who can show you what to do, how to do it, and explain to you potentially why you'd want to do this. Because for a lot of times, when I was mentioned earlier about looking into people's business needs. I mean, that's how I always approach it with my clients. First, I try to figure out what it is that they would like to be able to accomplish or to be done. The trouble with this approach is that a lot of times they don't even know themselves everything that they can and would like to be able to get done. So on one hand, they have some information they give you about what they would like to get done, but at the same time, me as a computer or as IT pro, I should say, I look at it from a standpoint of understanding what they're talking about and then seeing potentially some of the things that they may not know they could even do, and I bring that forward as well. So that's where they can, all of a sudden they see the light based on that kind of explanation. So it's a combination of looking at things that they really need and also offering some things they never even thought about that they could potentially use and things like that. So it's basically what and how combined with why, and then the business and the business person makes a decision whether they would use it. Another big thing right now, for all of us basically, is the mobile thing. Mobile just completely exploded, and in fact today, April 21st, 2015, is when Google is introducing a new algorithm in their search that basically will punish businesses that do not have mobile-friendly websites. So if you were fairly highly rated on Google before, and you just had plain old website and you used different keywords and different SEO techniques, maybe you paid somebody, a bunch of money to do SEO for you, and so you're positioned well, everything. If you do not have a mobile-friendly site, you will be knocked down by Google starting today. Okay? The reason being is because we're much, much more mobile when it comes to using basically applications and using gadgets. Mobile is where everything is moving into more and more and more. It's not slowing down at all. It's actually increasing more so. There are now more people accessing websites from the mobile devices than they are from the old desktops. And that's only understandable because we always have it with us, and these phones now are so incredible. You can do pretty much.
It's like a computer right in your hand.
Exactly, and sophisticated computer. That is not just a computer, but a really sophisticated one. It has phenomenal cameras. I have a LG G3 phone, and it has a 13 megapixel camera. Creates just amazing pictures, without practically doing any editing or anything. And so essentially, you have, ability to have just about anything you need at your fingerprints. And if you combine it with some other technologies, like for example, looking at some of the Google applications, like Google Keep that Barbara and I were talking about, that application is available on mobile as well. It's a little bit different the way it works, but pretty much the same thing. And the most important thing to understand about some of these is the fact that they synchronize seamlessly. So what's happening is if I go and I create a checklist item on one of these, on Google Keep, for example, it's immediately synced across all of my devices. So no matter, as long as I log in with my Google account to any computer in the world that's on the internet, whether it's Barbara's Chromebook or some computer somewhere back in the Himalayas, it doesn't matter. The idea is if it's my account, then I'll be able to get into my Google Keep and see that item automatically there that I initially put in using my phone, let's say, or vice versa. Everything is totally synchronized. So it makes it much more effective in terms of operation, where you're able to work and do things on the fly, literally, using any device. For example, just to give you a simple example, let's say Barbara is out and about and she sees something she wants to take a picture of, and then she wants to deal with this later at some point. What she can do is she can take a picture from using her phone camera, which pretty much everybody now can do it. But what would be better is to take a picture using Google Keep. I'm just referring to Google Keep because it's got all these kind of capabilities. Take a picture using Google Keep, and then that picture, you also can add a date and time reminder when you want to be reminded on your mobile device and your desktop about this particular item you're putting in. So she takes a photo, and then she says, remind me about this photo tomorrow afternoon. And that's it. She forgets it. Next thing that happens, she's sitting working in her home on a different computer now. I mean, she did this on her phone. Now she's sitting at home on her Chromebook. And at that next day, at that time that she indicated, a little pop-up will come up, notification, including her phone too. It'll come up in both places, indicating that this is the item that she wanted to be reminded about, and there's a picture that she took. And of course, you can take multiple pictures if you wanted to. So there is an example right there where you can do something better by not only utilizing technology to take a picture and then have to worry about where you stored it, what it was, all of that, but you can actually take, I mean, if it's one picture, you can remember it. But if you had to take 50 pictures, okay, that's when it becomes super useful, and you can definitely save some time for yourself by not sifting through trying to find something, because it'll actually come to you. So the technology becomes almost like a your secretary, if you will. Same thing with appointments, for example, for calendaring appointments, so you don't forget any of your meetings. I could be driving and I have an appointment set up with, let's say, 5 people. Right now, because of all this interface and interaction with Google and Google Plus and some of their other applications, I can actually literally hit a single button while I'm driving, and my phone will send an email to everybody saying that I'm going to be 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late or whatever I want to say. And of course, everything that I'm saying, I could be saying by clicking on a little microphone on my phone keyboard, and instead I can actually be saying it voice instead of actually typing it while I'm driving. So it becomes a question, okay, how much time am I saving by doing this? And depending on the activities that you actually take, you could potentially be saving a tremendous amount of time by utilizing all these little applications and all these little capabilities. When you combine it together compared to the way you used to do it before, it's a day and night environment in terms of competency. And in some cases, it would have been physically impossible for you to accomplish the same thing in the past because you just didn't have the resources. And now you do. Yeah. Okay? And,
go ahead,
Barbara.
I was going to say, the thing that's great about this sort of automation is that, with my life and, my daughter and work and home, I'm not going to remember something that I want to remember in 4 hours, much less 2 or 3 days. So that in and of itself really does save me time, because instead of walking around my house going, I know I'm supposed to remember something. I know there was something I was supposed to be doing, and what was it? That automation solves the issue.
Right.
So it does save a lot of time.
Right. And then, if you look at another example, for example, let's say that somebody is usually buying a lot of things at Costco. So you're walking around and you're in the grocery store and you remember all of a sudden you need to buy a bunch of paper towels for the office. And you're actually looking at paper towels, but you want to buy them at Costco because they're so much cheaper. Well, you're not at Costco, you're at QFC. You just remembered it because you're looking at towels. So what you can do, again, you can take a picture, and instead of setting up reminder for a certain date and time, you can also set up reminder for a location. So you simply tell it that you want to be reminded when you're at Costco in Kirkland. And so you wind up taking these little pictures, or even not pictures, you're just putting in text. Doesn't matter how you do it, but you set the reminders of any of those items you put in at different times. It could be by multiple people too. You can share the same note with multiple people easily. So everybody puts in the same deal, and reminders set up to go ahead on all these different items, all these different notes to remind when you're at Costco. Guess what happens? Whenever you actually make it to Costco, and by your GPS, the phone will know that you're at Costco, then all these reminders come up saying, these are the things you need to buy at Costco. So you go get the item, check it off as done, an item, check it off as done, and there you go. As simple as that. So a lot of these things are kind of a different, like I said, it's a new way of doing things, something we haven't been able to do before because we just didn't have those kind of capabilities. And until they get us robots to whom we can just say, go to Costco and buy me this, this, and that, we still need to do it ourselves at this point. And that's one of the ways how you can ease your life by not having to sift through or come up with some list that you have to, find where that list is, and you keep adding items to it. I mean, all of this is just too much work, too much hassle, so we don't do it. But this way, it's very simple. It's very easy, and that's why it makes sense to do it. So basically, what the main kind of thing that we want to talk today about is to bring some of these examples up. I mean, these are just a few examples of many things that could be done, and to make the main point about the fact that to be able to utilize the technology that is available right now, most of it available for free, doesn't cost you a dime, and it's only a matter of learning what to do and how to do it. We'll basically, my company, Proactive Computer System, is planning to do is start for being part of a kind of like inclusive, I don't want to say club, if club is the wrong word for it, but think of it kind of like an inclusive community. Community is the best word to describe it.
Exactly.
And that community is going to have these kind of hangouts, except only members of the community will be part of it. The cost of this will be very minimal compared to what it would cost you to hire some IT consultant or have your own IT department. It would be nothing even close to that. I mean, it would be far less expensive and far more affordable, actually affordable for just about any small business. And then the idea is that you would have this resource, this community resource, as IT department of your own without actually having one that you're paying for, if you understand what I'm saying. So you're part of the community, but the community mostly is people who are looking for the same thing, meaning that people who want to learn how to use technology to make their life easier, make their business more efficient, more effective, more cost effective. And so a lot of the things that I'll be teaching in that particular community will be specifically dealing with these items where it'll pay for itself in practically, most likely the first month that you're part of it, you're going to pay back in savings a lot more than it will cost you to be part of the community. So the community itself will be, we're still formulating the final numbers, and the community will start around summertime, so in about a month, around the beginning of June. And the idea would be that you'll be able to be part of this community. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands that even though you'll be a member of a community, you won't necessarily, you're not going to be depending on the community to help you with whatever your needs are. I'll be doing that part. So I'll be doing the training, I'll be doing the hand-holding, if you will, explaining what to do, when to do it, how to save time, how to make time, which tools to use, which software to use, but in a lot of detail. In other words, in as much detail for each member of community as needs to be. And so we're going to have two different levels. One level will be community that will be like you're looking right now, but there's going to be most likely 10 people is going to be full. Hangouts will be full of people, and they will bring their question, they will bring their thoughts and everything, and then we'll address it all, and we'll meet X number of times per month to discuss specific needs of these specific people and offer solutions and exactly how to take care of it within reason, from the standpoint that obviously we're not going to be discussing anything that's any kind of intellectual property or anything that's to give somebody competitive advantage in terms of business. Is going to be more of a tools and technologies to use that will help you solve specific or generic problems. Initially, it's going to be more of a generic things like Gmail, like I mentioned, to actually get into the Gmail on a detailed level where you don't feel like you're overwhelmed with all the stuff you can do, but actually go step by step and learn how to do all these different things, and then you can use whichever ones you want to use. And then anything else that you want to bring to the table that you specifically want to use this particular project management software or something else and need some assistance, we would then help out in that as well. So the idea is being like I said, like you have your own IT department without actually paying for it, but at the same time get the same benefits. Being able to, we're starting a new sales marketing program. How do we track all this stuff? What do we need to do? We're thinking about starting social media. What do we do? Do we set up a Facebook account? Do we put a bunch of pictures on Twitter? The answer to both questions is no and no. Okay, that's the simple answer. But we would need to discuss it more because it's partially yes, but mostly it's no. There's better ways to utilize your time for social media and do things like we're doing here right now. And so it's one of these, like I said, it's an educational experience on an ongoing basis. and you'll be able to be part of it for as long as you want to, or as short as you want to, up to you. And the two different levels of this inclusivity will include members of the members of this community that get together, and then of course you will have full access to me at any time in addition to that on a private level. And then also there's going to be hangouts between me, and this will be the second level, which will be a private level, if you will, where it's going to be, all the meetings are going to be just between myself and the business, and there's not going to be any other members of community involved in those. That's going to be a little bit more pricey compared to the other community, but at the same time it's going to be much more personal, one-on-one type deal. So the first level is going to be learning a lot of things that will be beneficial for a lot of people, for most people practically, just about all people. And the second will be more specific, more personalized, to deal with just specific needs of a particular business. That's what that would be. So those two things will be, information will be forthcoming about the prices and about how to do, how to sign up for things, and how to participate and everything else. So if you have interest in this particular type of community and want to participate to have us be your IT department, then below the video I'll post a link to a form, online form, and you can just put in your information there. Feel free to add comments below the video as well, and depending on the comments, we'll get your information that way as well, and then we'll be in touch from there. So before we wrap this up today, a few more minutes, I wanted to have Barbara perhaps tell some more information about her business and how you can benefit from things that she sells.
So yeah, what I do and what I offer is very much aligned with the sort of things that Oleg is wanting to share and what his business is sharing for the small business as far as the IT. And so I help with some of the additional balance, because whereas Oleg's expertise a lot of times is within the sort of programs and what Google offers, and that I do have a lot of experience with, say, Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and things like that. So what I like to do is show people how can you automate all of that, because it's really that responsive sort of person-to-person marketing, as you know, Oleg, that's really going to get you the most value. And so yes, so that relationship marketing, people are spending all of their time just sitting on the Facebook, or sitting, when are they going to say like, who's going to like it? And so I try to teach people, and those are some things that we can get into as we go in further into this, how to really automate all of that process so they can take that to the next level, as well as, like we're talking about today, taking that time back. I mean, if you can sit down for a couple of hours and schedule your Google+, your Facebook, all of those different social media platforms for the month over a theme that you want to cover, say, with your business, then you can just check once or twice a day and see who you need to respond to and who you want to connect with, rather than every day thinking, oh, what am I going to post on the social media today?
Right. And so in addition to that, of course, also there's a whole component dealing with analytics. So like Barbara said, there is certainly a certain science to knowing how to do the social media. And to be honest with you, if you're looking to do social media right, you're going to have a zillion people telling you what to do, and between us, nobody actually knows the best approach or the best way to do it. So, people have their own approach, people have their own level of success of doing it, and for example, Barbara does a lot of stuff for her business, so she's got a lot of information dealing with some of the things involved in terms of what worked and what didn't. That doesn't necessarily mean that her experience would work the same way for you, but at least she's got some wisdom and some specific tools and ideas about how you can automate, and then you can try it, because everybody who is worth anything on social media will tell you, do the testing, do the testing, do the testing, see how well it works for you. If it works for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't work for you, change it. Well, duh, That's basically, it's a common sense thing. It's not, you don't have to be a social media expert. So like I was saying, and Barbara is saying, she can help you in terms of some of these other things. I can come in and also help you not only with that, but also with things like analytics, because you need to, at the end of the day, you need to see what's your investment of time, how it pays back to you, and what kind of interest you generate, what kind of engagement you're getting. Because, in terms of, there's a lot of things that are just comical, and people are people. I always keep saying that because it's true. People are people. You know what the highest number of views I got on video on my YouTube channel? It's none of my training tutorials on Google Apps or Google Keep or Gmail or all kinds of different IT-related, and Google-related things. None of those. Even though I got some, people definitely watch my videos and thank me and everything else, but it's not. The highest number of views I got on my YouTube channel is the video that shows ducks in Kirkland here, when a family of ducks was trying to cross the road, and a cop came out because he saw they were walking right into the traffic. He stopped traffic with his hand, and he let this group of ducks, this family of ducks, cross the road, and everybody started clapping. That's it. So it's a few minutes of this particular episode. That is the highest video, and the highest viewed video on my YouTube channel. So that's kind of gives you an idea that, it's not just about being extremely, professional and everything else, and, gray, blue, and white colors on the screen, and being serious, everything else. No, that's not what people are looking for. So you need to learn how to mix things up a little bit. You need to get you certainly need experts to tell you, to help you, guide you, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff people, one of the best advice the social media gurus will tell you is be yourself. Nobody can be that for you.
Authentic.
One of my dearest friends, right? One of my dearest friends in England, David Amerland, who is like one of the world leading authorities on semantic search on Google, which is the approach Google is using now to try to get us better results. Fascinating topic, and he's wrote a number of books on it, and his latest book on SEO, just a brilliant man. He made this joke in one of the Hangouts recently, saying that you need to be you because everybody else is taken. And so it was just a brilliant way of saying it. Barbara, I apologize for interrupting. Go ahead. Just wanted to bring it up.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, yeah, it's all about authenticity. And no one can teach you authenticity. If you're trying to be what everyone else is looking for in person X, Y, and Z, you're never going to find that niche market because they already want X, Y, Z. So why would they go to you? When you're authentic and you're yourself, people are just drawn to that. And then your tribe will find you.
And another brilliant thing that same man said is that when you're dealing with the business, you're really dealing with people behind it. You're not really dealing with business per se. You're really dealing with people behind it. And that's why you, as a business, need to project yourself using social media, using your web presence, using your digital identity, if you will. So both Google will position you high because they can see how competent you are, and that way you'll get that much more business from there. So there's a whole science to that. But also so people can be comfortable dealing with you because they can see there's videos of people talking about your business. There's videos of people talking about their experience with you on a personal level, okay, in terms of business you've done with them on a personal level. And that way there is reviews that people leave, and that way you wind up having a totally different visibility online, and at the same time totally different business success because of the visibility online and because of this engagement with people. And just imagine, in the past, a lot of stuff was done how? You create a little flyer, you spend a small fortune on printing and everything else, you dump it to 30,000 homes, which most of them wind up throwing in the garbage before they even look at it. That was kind of how people did using direct marketing. For some businesses it worked, for most businesses, especially small businesses, it was too expensive and the return on investment was not there. Imagine if instead of that, you would actually put together what we're doing with Barbara right now, where you're talking about your business, you're answering people's questions, okay, dealing with your business in this kind of environment. And once you have this session going, it can be recorded and be on YouTube as the end result, where anybody can benefit from the same information you give them at the end of that particular video. It just basically winds up being there. Google uses it for indexing and showing it in search results, things like that. Imagine the kind of value you can now bring to the table as a business person, and it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. You can be a one-person business. It's just as easy for you to do a hangout like this as it is for Coca-Cola. In fact, I would even venture to say that it's easier for you to do it because you don't have any of the bureaucracy or any of the obstacles normally involved in a large company dealing with trying to do something quick, productive, and efficient like that. And so if you stop to think about it, you can see the immense value, as David Amerlin called it, disruptive technology in his book, and he's absolutely right. Hangouts, this ability to do this video communication in an interactive way like we're doing right now, ability for people to actually ask questions, ability to leave comments, it's unbelievably beneficial to the business because that's what most people crave. They want to be acknowledged most than anything when dealing with businesses. I just saw a recent poll survey somebody did, and that's exactly what it was. Being acknowledged is one of the biggest category people responded to. They want to be heard, they want to be acknowledged, and obviously they want to be taken care of. So this is one of the ways how you can do exactly that in a way that takes you a little bit of time, doesn't cost you anything in terms of money, and the results from that kind of experience in terms of how much more business you can get and so on, there's nothing else like it. And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to teach you if you decide to participate in this community environment. And by the way, there will be a physical community in Google Plus dedicated to this as well. So it's going to be both online and offline experience as well, if you will. Mostly online, though. I shouldn't say offline. Online in terms of us being able to communicate like this, almost like if we were offline.
Yes.
And stuff. And so, Barbara, again, back to my question, which is a little bit more about your business in case people want to buy some of the wellness products and stuff, where they need to go.
So my main website is bijacoaching.com. I am a certified personal trainer, life coach. I'm actually a holistic lifestyle and wellness coach. I have a diploma in personal nutrition. I'm a certified. So if you go to bijacoaching.com, which is BIJA coaching.com, that's the main area that you can find me. And I offer all the solutions from helping you set up your social media presence to helping you balance out your nutrition so that you can actually focus on your business. So it's really a total mind, body, spirit sort of a process that I offer to clients because I believe that you can't just be successful in business if you aren't being successful in the rest of your life, because your health impacts everything. So that's why I focus on this really well-rounded program. And so, I definitely will be throwing a lot of that in to the process of trying to keep people to understand that there are also tools that you can use to simplify your wellness. Making the grocery list so you can stick it to it at the grocery store, putting recipes into, a document so that you have some place to go back to have all of that. There's a lot of ways that technology can, be implemented into that process. And I think that business owners need to take care of themselves, take care of their health. And so that's very important, and I hope to share some of that.
Excellent. So basically, just for the record, I'm only doing IT. If you want any health stuff, you gotta go to Barbara. I'm the K guy. I'm not the health guy. And so hopefully you got some value today from some of the. We've only covered very few little examples just to give you some ideas about just a tiny bit of possibilities of what could be done. But hopefully you understand that you can save significant amount of time and make time because of that if you start using some of these techniques and some of these technologies, and we'll help you along the way if you would like us to. And so with that, I would like to definitely thank Barbara very much for being part of this today. And down below, we're going to list links to her website, and we're going to list, we're going to have a form shortly where you can sign up if you're interested in participating, and then later we'll get you more information about that. And also, I guess that's pretty much it from me. Do you want to add anything else at the end there, Barbara, before we close up?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll be sharing a link. I'm going to give away one free mini flash strategy session. So one business owner can take advantage of going through a strategy session with me to learn how to implement a few of these sort of whole body life coaching in their business.
Okay, so now I feel really bad because Barbara's giving away something free. I'm not. So here's what we'll do. I'll send you, when you put your name in the form, below I'll send you a list of 10 applications that are free to use and that are very useful, and some of which we already talked about today, but basically a list of top 10 tools you can use to make yourself more time. So I'll send that to you, no obligation. You don't have to do anything. You just, if you put your name into the thing saying that you have interest in learning about this community for business, then you'll get this. And even if you don't sign up later, it doesn't matter, but at least you'll have this list of top 10 apps that you can use that are all of them are free. I'll make sure all of them are free, and that'll save you some time. So here we go. We got some things from Barbara coming your way, and some things from me. And with that, thank you very much, and we will talk to you again. Bye.
Bye.